Today, I'm going to be talking about 3 struggles that athletes are having while they're trying to turn their talents into cash. 3 struggles that they are having. And they're having a lot of struggles. I work with athletes on a regular basis, and I'm constantly hearing the things that they're struggling with. And heck, I'm even hearing this stuff from their coaches, their parents, people that are connected to them. So I wanted to talk about 3 struggles today. So the first struggle is that the athlete does not have a marketable brand. And you probably heard the word brand before, but what does marketable brand mean? What does that mean? So for me, I break it down, marketable brand, into a few different components, and then I'll share some with you. So the first thing is self-reflection for me. Self-reflection. So having a marketable brand really starts with you, the brand, right? So having a brand, you have to know who you are. The athlete has to know who they are. They have to know like what their vision is. Like, what do they see themselves doing in the future? Where do they see themselves going? Where do they see themselves as an athlete? Where do they see themselves after they are no longer an athlete? Because this is a conversation that I've been having. Like, this is a short window of time where a child is an athlete. They start when they're young. They may play they may play, in middle school, high school. They may play on the collegiate level. And then they may stop right there. Or they may go professional. But we know there's a small percentage that go professional. There's even a small percentage that play in college. The percentage gets smaller and smaller the higher you get up. So it's like, what's their vision? Where do they see themselves? And then where do they see themselves outside of sports? So that's a part of their brand. What are their likes, their dislikes? What are the athletes' likes and dislikes? And a lot of them may not be able to communicate that, which is why it's so important for parents and people that are connected to them to really pull that stuff out of them and get their brains thinking. Like, what do you like? What don't you like? What kind of morals, what kind of values do you have? What do you believe in? What are your interests? And I have this conversation a lot with my athletes. Like, what do y'all like to do? What do y'all really believe in? What are you passionate about? Because them understanding that is going to be so helpful when it comes to them building a brand, but also building a marketable brand. It's going to be super important. The next part about building a marketable brand is activation. So we take all that self-reflection and they put it together and they embody it. So their likes, their dislikes, it aligns with what they portray. It aligns with who they are, how they carry themselves, what they say, what they do. So self-activation. But also it goes to brand presence. Having a marketable brand goes to brand presence. And another words for brand presence is brand awareness or brand recognition. And that all aligns with the level in which the audience, the people that they talk to, interact with every day, their audience remembers and recognizes them. So say for instance, I always think about I always use the example for the top tier athletes. Why? Because people know who they are and they see them on a regular basis, or they've seen them over a long period of time. So LeBron James, for instance, we know LeBron James is a talented athlete, right? We know that he's a talented athlete. But we also know, and this is all about brand awareness and brand presence, right? We know that he's been playing professionally since he was, I think he was 17 at the time. He might have been 18, but since he was right out of high school. That's a part of his brand awareness. We know that he was a young child coming into a professional league. That's a part of his story. But also that he's from Ohio, Akron, Ohio. I think it's Akron, Ohio. But then also he came from a single parent household. Just him and his mom. But then we also know that he is big in philanthropy. He has built schools. He now has like a media company. He makes movies and different docuseries and different things like that. Who he is as his audience, the people, his fans remember him, has evolved and changed over time. But we still remember that. When we see him, we know that he's LeBron James. He's an amazing athlete, first and foremost. Probably one of the greatest athletes of all time, at least in my generation. And that's important for people to be able to remember the athlete for hopefully positive things. Because that's something else. Hopefully for positive things, but that goes to brand presence. And then the presentation of a brand is what makes them marketable. The way they engage with their audience. The way they showcase their brand in a positive way. The way they show up on social media, which is super important. They're not, an example of this I like to think is like John Morant. Like we loved us some John Morant, but then all of a sudden he started doing lives, waving guns, allegedly fighting little kids. Like what? Presentation of a brand, whether he's marketable. Maybe one time he was marketable. Has he lost that completely? Not necessarily, but there's going to be a little rehab of his brand, right? Of his marketable brand. He's going to have to be positioned in a way where he is no longer remembered for those not so great moments that he's had, but that he's still a stellar athlete and, he comes from a great family and this, that, and the third. So that's what makes an athlete have a marketable brand. Self-reflection, self-activation, brand presence, and then the presentation of their brand. Okay? So that's one of the struggles that athletes are having. They don't know how to put all that together. Like, they don't know how to put all of that together. That's going to be super important for them to be able to turn their talents into cash, okay? Or opportunity. That's going to be so important. The second thing is they are not positioned for opportunity. And sometimes to me, sometimes this can be seen as more of an excuse. Well, I don't know how to put myself out there. I don't have the connections to, really get seen or get visibility. And this is something I hear a lot from athletes and parents who think their child needs an agent. And I'm an agent, by the way. This is something I hear from parents and athletes when it comes to why they need an agent. They need an agent because they want connections, which is, ultimately, an agent does help, speed some things along. But I'll be the first to say, like, having an agent, depending on, like, where you're at, like, in your athletic journey, like, professionals, I think they need agents just because, they're at a certain caliber. But do I think like high school and college athletes need agents? Not necessarily. And I paused that because it's just like, girl, what? That's your job, right? Yeah, it is my job. But then it's also my job to educate parents and athletes on what they need and what they don't need and when they need it. And I'm not going to lie to y'all and say, oh, yes, you need an agent. You need an agent to do something that you very well could do. I'm not going to say that. It wouldn't feel right for me to say something like that. So no, lack of connections not being positioned for opportunity, having a lack of resources. Sometimes having a lack of resources mean having a lack of education. And remember, I said that the reason why I started this live series was because a lot of people, a lot of parents and athletes don't even know what name, image, and likeness is. They don't know the rules associated with it. They don't know what they can and cannot do. They don't know how to do it. A lack of education is a big proponent of why athletes are not positioned for opportunity. And then assistance, they need help from people they trust, from professionals that have expertise in a specific area. So for instance, yes, I'm an attorney, so that means I have expertise in contract law, on how to review contracts, what are key terms, in negotiating. But then I also am an educator. So I help parents understand NIL. I help athletes understand NIL, personal branding, all those things associated with it. So this is why having somebody who has expertise is important. How many people have heard of an athlete who had an uncle who they allowed to represent them? And Uncle JoJo, I call this uncle JoJo. Uncle JoJo had no idea what he was doing. He didn't have no expertise. He just had this connection to this athlete. And maybe he had a love for the athlete. This is my nephew. This is my niece. I love him. I want to help him. But they didn't have no type of expertise as to what they were doing and how to position that nephew or niece for opportunity. So, in the end of the day, they actually could have been doing more harm than good. And most of the time, they were doing more harm than good. You need to make sure you are connecting yourself with people, one, that you've built relationship with and you trust. You trust that they're going to be giving you the right information and they have expertise in a specific area. Also, not being positioned for opportunity also means, it aligns with not showing up consistently. And this is a kicker for a lot of people. This is something I even struggle with myself, showing up consistently, because that takes a lot of work and effort. I told y'all at the beginning of this, I was out celebrating with one of my closest friends and I didn't get home till 2:30, right? I still had to wake up, make sure I was prepared for this live, make sure I had my notes, make sure I'm awake, I'm energetic, I'm still giving the same energy. If I had, 10 hours of sleep versus 5, that takes a lot of effort and work, desire. That takes a lot of, honestly, doing something like that, pushing past, the not so desirables, takes a lot of grit and a lot of dedication. So when you see these young athletes and they're experiencing, all different types of challenges, whether it's within their sport, whether it's in school, whether it's family, whether it's their own mental health, understand that if they're showing up, how much effort that took for them. But sometimes getting past all that causes them not to show up consistently because they're trying to battle with it. I'm an adult and I still am trying to navigate going through life, having work-life balance, and showing up consistently. So I can only imagine what a child or a young adult could be experiencing trying to show up consistently, particularly if they don't have anybody pushing them to do so. So showing up consistently also aligns with not being positioned for opportunity. Not being positioned for opportunity. So we have the first struggle was not having a marketable brand, which we talked about those things that create a brand and how you show up and how your audience remembers you. We talked about not being positioned for opportunity, whether that means they don't have the necessary connections, whether they have a lack of resources, education, assistance, people connect, like people being connected to people who have expertise in a certain area, not showing up consistently. And then the last struggle that athletes are having while trying to turn their talents into cash is a lack of strategy. A lack of strategy. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't know how to use it properly and strategically, you kind of wasting your time. You're wasting your time. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you do not know how to use it the right way, even the right time, strategically, you are wasting your time. Because a lot of young people have no idea how to use this opportunity for their benefit. This whole period of NIL and building a personal brand and, all this stuff, like they have no idea. They like, no, okay, I can do this. I see how other people may be navigating it, but how do I do this? A lot of them have no idea. They have no idea. They don't have any strategy on how much they should post, what, like, as far as content is concerned, like what kind of content they should post, the content subjects. They don't know their content pillars. So those things that align with their interests, their values, their dislikes, their likes, what they believe in. They don't know how to create content that aligns with all that stuff. They don't have a plan on when they're going to post. They don't even have a plan on when they're going to create this content. They don't have a plan on when they're going to post. They don't have a plan on when they're going to evaluate how that content was received with their audience. Remember, we talked about brand presence and that being the level in which your audience remembers you and recognizes you. So you got to go back and evaluate that to see whether that content was hitting, whether your audience liked it. But then also a lack of strategy when it comes to reaching out to brands or reaching out to schools or people that an athlete would potentially want to work with. And I'll say brands and schools. Brands, as far as maybe you want to do brand deals with them. An athlete wants to do a brand deal, an endorsement deal with them. And then I'll say schools. Maybe you're a middle school or a high school athlete and you're interested in playing on the collegiate level. Are you taking the time to reach out to schools? Are you taking time to research these schools to see which one might be the best fit for you? Who's the coach? What kind of players play at these institutions? Are you taking time to understand? Are you making yourself known to them? Because a lot of athletes think that just because they're playing, people know them and see them. And that's just not the case. Just because you're out there playing on the court, running up and out the court, how many people are potentially in that gym? Particularly, it's a lack of visibility if it's not televised or streamed in some type of way. Let's think about that. So why would you assume that thousands of coaches know who you are? It doesn't make sense, right? So taking the initiative to reach out to schools, taking the initiative to reach out to companies and brands who you want to the athlete wants to potentially work with. Even how you're going to maneuver in those opportunities. Because one of my words or one of my phrases that I've adopted for 2024 is stay ready. Stay ready. If I were to get an opportunity, what am I going to do with it? You got to think about that stuff. That's where strategy comes in. And I think it's a little unfair for us to think that athletes, particularly young athletes, are going to have the, forethought and the wherewithal to be able to come up with all these three struggles. These three struggles are valid. Not having a marketable brand, having a lack of strategy, not being positioned for opportunity. These are valid struggles that our young athletes face. Valid. So in my opinion, it is our job, the adults in their lives, to help them. To be their eyes and ears. Be the people that they can trust. So if you're a parent, if you're a coach, you're a teacher, you're somebody connected to a parent, a coach, a teacher, whoever, somebody that cares about young athletes, I want you to do these three things for me. One, I want you to subscribe to my live series. Hopefully you got some value out of the content that I've discussed today, and you've seen something, you've heard something that has intrigued you, that has kind of sparked your, maybe a thought. Maybe you had an enlightened moment. Like, man, you know what? I never thought about that. Or, man, you speaking the truth. Somebody in the comments said, talk that talk. Talk that talk. If you're somebody connected to them and you need to learn on a regular basis what you can do to help them, what they're struggling with, and what ways that they can use these opportunities, please subscribe to this live series. When you subscribe to this live series, you get notifications when I go live. I go live every Monday at 12. And then also, what's great about subscribing is that whenever you subscribe, this replay, so just in case, I know people work during the day, just in case you miss it, I have a private portal that you'll have access to where I'll upload these videos every week. And you can go back and watch them, binge watch them. You get behind. You can literally find these videos all in one place. All in one place, which is super helpful, because for me, time is money. And if I can find all the information I need in one place, golden. So if you are interested in subscribing to my live series, please go to IamAngelicaMcDonald.com/beyond the game. Okay? It's a quick, little form, nothing too crazy. Okay? Then also something I need you to do is book a free call with me. Book a free call with me. Free. Did I say free? Did you hear free? I said free. Book a free call with me. Okay? During that call, we'll talk about what's going on, and we'll come up with some action steps on what you need to do next. Because remember that whole strategy thing? Sometimes you don't know whether you're coming or going. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't know who to talk to. During that free call, we'll be coming up with those solutions. If you want to book a free call, you can go to IamAngelicaMcDonald.com/beyond the game call. Beyond the game call. IamAngelicaMcDonald.com/beyond the game call. And also let me know if these links work, because I've been having trouble accessing these links, but then I've been able to access them when I leave my house for whatever reason. So when I disconnect from my Wi-Fi, I don't know. I'm doing troubleshooting. They're saying the links work. I don't know. So if you're having trouble accessing any of these links, send me a message. Send me a DM. It will be worth your while. Just send me a message if you're having trouble. Okay. And then lastly, please tag a parent of an athlete, whether they're a young athlete, they're a youth athlete, they're a high school athlete, or a college athlete. Tag a parent. Tag a parent, tag a coach, tag somebody that is connected to a young athlete, because they need to know about this live series. I'm going to be showing up every week. And I'm excited about it. I'm so excited about showing up to, to give this information that is so needed. So that is all for today. I hope y'all have a blessed MLK Day. I know I am. I'm about to hop off, get some to eat, do some work. Have a few calls, of course, because who takes a day off, right? But I'm super excited about what's to come, and y'all should be too. So I am Angelica McDonald, and I hope y'all have an amazing day. Make sure you're back next Monday at 12 p.m. and I will see y'all later.